Hello and welcome again to my channel, and as you can see in the screen, this is what we will be making today. So let me show you. As the name says already, frosted glass auth will not be implementing the function, but this is a front-end project, so we'll just be implementing the design. And as you can see, it's a nice hover effect, and the background has a nice gradient, so does the button. When we open it, we get this, which is really nice. We can switch it, sign in and sign up, and if you look, it has a nice animation there too, all the icons. And yeah, we are going to make this. Let's get started. So as you can see, I've already set up a byte project or v project, whatever you may call it. um, this is the index.css. I have tweaked it a little to match the colors. You can take a look at the GitHub. The app.tsx is currently empty with just hello world. I've run the project, and if we move to the browser, you can see it shows hello world. Let's implement the background itself first, and then we can move on. So I'll remove everything here and replace it with a main tag. The main tag will have a class name of minimum height screen, basically covering the entire screen. We'll have a big background of gradient to bottom right, basically a slanting gradient. It'll start from primary with the opacity of 40% and via background, then it will move to secondary with a opacity of 50. It will have flex, item center, justify center, basically centering everything to the middle, and it will have a padding of 4. Okay, now within this main tag we'll have a div which will keep empty for now, and I'll just put up a comment here saying auth dialog. So this is where we'll keep the dialog, which will be in another component, but for now let's just see the background, how it looks. And as you can see, the background is looking nice with a nice gradient. Next, we'll be implementing this text and the button. So let's get started. This is where we are currently at. Now we'll fill up this div, and first of all it will receive a class name of text center and a space y of 6. Inside this div we'll have another div which will get the class name of space y of 2, and inside this div we'll have an h1 saying frosted glass auth. The class name for this h1 tag will be text of, for Excel, font bold, background gradient to right from primary to accent, background clip, text of transparent. Then below the h1 we'll have a p tag saying beautiful authentication with frosted glass. We'll just change up the text, save some time. Then the class name will be text muted foreground and the text of large. Now below this div we'll have a button from our library Shatcn. I've already installed it. The button will say open auth dialog and it will receive an on click function which I'll keep empty for now, and it will have a size of large. It will get a class name which is quite long, background gradient to right, then from primary to accent, hover from primary 90, hover to accent 90. Then it will say transition all duration 200, transform hover scale 105. Just do this. Now let's see how this looks. Okay, I missed a hyphen here. Let's see, and there it is. Quite nice. Now let's implement the state which will be controlled by this button. We'll call it const is open, set is open, and use state of false. And when we press this button, it will set is open to true. We'll have to use this by making this component. We'll get to it. Okay, next let's start implementing the dialog box component. We'll write export function auth dialog. Now this will take in a few props, basically two of them, is open and on close. We'll implement an interface for that and we'll call it auth dialog props. Let's implement that. And it will be is open, which will be a boolean, and on close, which will be a function that will return the void, basically the setter function of the use state. Now we will return a div here with the class name as follows. It will be fixed insert 0, basically covering the entire screen, z of 50, so that it appears above all the text that we had implemented just now. Then items center, justify center, flex, of course, and a padding of 4. Then inside the div we have another div which will act as the overlay kind of thing, a blackish kind of thing behind the actual card. So we'll say div. It can be a self-closing div, but whatever, it works. Class name of absolute inset 0 again, covering the entire thing. Background of white with an opacity of 10. Then backdrop of blur and MD medium. Animate in, fade in dash 0, duration of 300, and it will receive an on click function, and we'll call on close here. Okay, let's see how this appears. We'll have to import it here first, so let's do that. Auth Dialog will import it. We'll send in the props. So is open will be is open, on close will be set is open to false. Forgot one thing, which is if is open is false, then we return null. This should work now. As you can see, when I click the button, is open is set to true, which returns this backdrop. When I click on the backdrop, it is set to false again. Cool. So this is working. Now let's move on to implement the card. So below this div, I can make this self-closing. Below this div will be the card, which will come from Shaxian again. It will receive quite a long class name. That's all for the class name of the card. Inside the card, we'll have two things: card header and card content. Now the class header will get a class name of text center space y2, and the card content will get a class name of space y4. First, let's finish implementing this, and then we can move on to card content. Now if you see in the browser, the card does appear, it just doesn't have anything inside it, right? And we can see the animation, it moves in from the bottom to the top, as we have implemented with the class name. Now again, inside the card header, we'll have two components: card title and card description. The card title, the class name here will be text to Excel, font bold, background gradient to R, basically to right, from blue 400 to purple 400, background clip text, text transparent. The card title will be dynamic. What I mean by that, if we are trying to sign up, it should say create account, and if we are trying to sign in, it should say welcome back. So we need to create a state for that. That will be called is sign up. If it is sign up, we'll say create account. Otherwise, we'll say welcome again. Right now, let's create the state. Const is sign up. Set is sign up. Use state to false. Initially, it will be false. Right then, the card description. Again, similar to the card title, the card description will also be dynamic. So let's implement that. The class name here will be text gray of 400. Inside again the same thing. We can just copy paste this and change the text. Here, if it is sign up, we'll say sign up to get started with your account. Otherwise, we'll say sign in to your account to continue. Let's see how this appears in the browser. Again, I'll press this and you can see welcome again. Welcome again is because we have set is sign up to false initially, and we have not implemented any way of changing it to sign up sign in. We cannot switch from one to another, which we'll do soon, but for now this is how it looks. Next, we'll implement the contents of card content. The first element or component here will be a form tag, and the class name it will have is space y of 4. Inside the form we'll have a dynamic block, and again it will depend on is sign up. If it is sign up, then we will show a div with a label saying username. Now the label will get a class name of text small, font medium, and text gray of 300, and it will also receive HTML4 attribute, and it will say username. Then below the label we'll have a div with the class name of relative, inside which we will have a icon that will import from Lucid React. Class name will be absolute left of 3 top of half transform minus translate y half, then h4 with 4 transition all duration of 200. Then for the dynamic part we'll do this, and we'll say we'll say focused input. If it is equal to username, we'll implement this state. Then it will say the style will be text blue 400, scale 110, animate pulse. Otherwise the class name will just be text gray 400. This class name is of course for the icon. Now below the icon and inside the div we'll have an input. ID will be username, type will be text, placeholder will be enter your username, and value will keep value for later. We have to implement the state for that. Then we can say on focus set focused input to username, and on blur will say set focused input to null. The class name here will be pl10 background of gray 800 with an opacity of 50%, border of gray 600, 50% opacity, text gray 100, placeholder text gray 500, focus border blue 400, 50% opacity, transition all, duration of 200, and we'll say required equal to is sign up. That means if we are signing up, this input is required. Now let's implement this state. So we'll go up and we'll say const focused input set focused input equal to use state of null. Initially it will be null and the type will be string or null. Now let's see how this looks in the browser. Now if I open the dialog box, you can see the input is not appearing. That is because in here we have used this conditional that we have to be in is sign up mode first, so and which is false initially. So let's make it true to check it out how that looks. Now if I open the dialog box, you can see the input appears. Now this label and input are very close together, so I might have missed some class name. Let's fix this. So the parent div of label will get a class name and it will be space y of 2 animate in slide in from right to, then duration of 300. Now again, let's see in the browser how this looks. As you can see, the animation is working. There's space between the label and the input. So now we've implemented the first input field, which is the username. The rest I have copy and pasted because the styles are similar. Code is very similar. Just we have to change a few things, like in the password, it will be a password field. The type will be password. We have not set it yet, but it will be a password and stuff like that. You can just copy and paste from the GitHub. The styles are pretty similar. Next, let's see how this looks in the browser. So as you can see, this is how it looks, pretty similar. The next thing that we are going to implement is this password is not hidden because we have not set the type yet. Also, we'll implement a button, an I button here that lets us see the password. So let's do that. So the state that we'll be using will be called const show password set show password equal to use state. Initially it will be false. Basically the password will be hidden. Now in the password we have to set a type. So we'll say type, it will be dynamic. So if show password is true, then we'll set the type to text, which will display the password. Otherwise the type will be password. Basically the password will be hidden. Same thing we can use. So I'll copy this in confirm password, this one. So below this. Okay, next we need to implement a button here that will help to toggle the state, basically show password to not show password. So here we'll write button with class name of absolute. Basically we want this button to appear within this input, not beside the input. So that's why absolute. Then write 3 top half transform translate y half text gray 400 hour text gray 200 and transition colors. Inside the button we'll write show password. If show password is true, then the icon that we'll use is I off with class name height 4 with 4. Otherwise the icon we'll use is I. It should have been I open, but whatever. Class name height 4 with 4. Now on clicking this button, the state should change. So it will receive an on click saying set show password to opposite of show password, and we'll also set the type here to be button. We can copy this button to the confirm password field also, and let's see how this looks in the browser. So you can see the button appears, the hover effect is working, Now if I write something, it will be hidden, and if I press this, it will be showing. Now as you can see, when I press this or whatever, it is controlling the state of both the inputs, which should not happen. So for that, we'll implement another state for the confirm password, which we'll call show confirm password, and we can use this here. Just see. Now if we go to the browser, we can see they work individually, right? So now the next thing we'll implement is a button here below, which will switch from sign up to sign in. So now we'll implement the button that changes the state between sign up and sign in. For that, we'll have to use a button, so we'll import that. Now the type of the button will be, of course, button. Then variant will be outline. Then on click will say toggle mode, which will implement just in a few seconds. Then class name will be then inside, depending on what state we are in, we'll say if his sign up is true, we'll say already have an account, sign in. Basically we are prompting the user to say that we are currently in the sign up mode. If you don't want to sign up and you want to sign in, press this button, so sign in. Otherwise we'll say don't have an account, sign up. Now let's implement this toggle mode. It will be a simple function const toggle mode equal to a function. Inside the function we'll say set is sign up to the opposite of is sign up, current is sign up, right? Now why we have used a function here and not used directly this in the on click, because we have to implement something else also inside the function, and we'll do that soon enough. But for now, let's see how this works. Okay, now we have a button here that switches between sign in and sign up. Okay, now we also need a button here to submit the form. Like say we have filled out the form, whatever, and we need to submit it, so we need a button for that. So the button to submit the form will go here and we'll say button. The type will be submit, as we are trying to submit a form, and we'll write the function to submit the form later. The class name will be with full bg gradient to right from blue 600 to purple 600, hover from blue 700 hover to purple 700, then transition all duration 200 transform hover scale will be a custom of 1.02. then active will be scale, again a custom of 0.98 custom value, then text of white. Inside the button, again depending on the state, we'll say either sign up or sign in, or in this case we'll say is sign up, create account, or sign in. Also below the form we'll have another div with the class name of relative. Inside the div we have two divs. The first div will have a class name of absolute in set 0 flex items center. Inside that div will be a span. It will be a self-closing span with a class name of width full, border top, border gray 600 with an opacity of 50. And the below div will get a class name of relative flex justify center text excess uppercase. Inside we'll have a span that will get a class name of bg gray 200, not 200 actually 900, px of 2, text gray of 400, and we'll say or. Let's see how this looks. And yes, when we are in the sign in mode, it says sign in. We switch it up, we go to create account in the sign up mode. Nice. Now if you can see, when I change the mode, the values remain there, which should not happen. So let's implement that functionality. An overall state of the inputs, because inputs do not have a state at the moment, it is not controlled. Okay, then now let's implement the states for the form that we are using right here. We'll not implement different states, we'll implement an object containing all the states. So it will be like const form data set form data use state, and initially everything will be empty. So email empty, username empty, password and confirm password. Then we'll write a function here, const handle input change, which will take as prop the field that we are changing and the value, basically the new value, and we'll say set form data prev, and we'll return everything in the previous state, but we'll change this particular field that we are sending to have the new value. Okay, then we'll also write another function, handle submit, which will be used to submit the form. This will not do anything functionally as of now, but maybe I'll implement an authentication system with the backend in the future video. But for now, it will just do e dot prevent default, basically default behavior, preventing it. Will take in react dot form event, and we can just console log every value in the state that we have is sign up. If it is true, then we'll say sign up, else we'll say sign in, comma, form data. Then in the toggle mode, as I said, we'll set everything to be empty again when we toggle from sign up to sign in. So we'll say set form data, and we'll set everything back to, we can just copy this then, everything back to being empty. That should be it. Now we need to hook this state to every input. So now for every input like this one, we'll say value will be form data dot username, because this is the username input, and on change we'll say handle input change. The field will be username. Okay, something is wrong here. Okay, what's happening? Okay, now everything is right. Username, and the value will be dot target dot value. So this should function properly. We'll just copy this and paste everywhere where there is an input. This is the input for email, so below we can paste this. This will be email, this will be email, another input, this one is for password. This one is for password, then this one, this is for confirm password. And we also need to use handle submit. Handle submit will go here on submit, handle submit. So everything should be fine and working now. Let's see. I'll refresh once. This is working. Let's see. Open console, and everything is consoled out. Perfect. Now if I switch, everything is empty. And that's it for this video. We now have a clean, modern, frosted Auth Dialog box ready to go. I hope you enjoyed building this UI as much as I did. In the next video, we'll take this a step further by adding form validation with Zod. We can make sure our inputs are secure and user friendly, showing messages if there is any wrong value, like the password and confirmed password do not match, or email is must have @ We can set rules for username, like using a capital letter, or must have a number, and fun stuff like that. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss it. See you in the next one.